following Hella's other robots, we are gifted, I suppose, with this Titanic homage. Titanic had come out in '97, was the most highest grossing film of all time. And as a result, Futurama, I guess like with a big piece of garbage, deemed it somewhat necessary to kind of acknowledge its existence and to play visual homage.
This is more direct parody, definitely.
Oh yeah, than the Armageddon piece of garbage. That's just one shot, really.
Veiled reference.
Yeah. But the Flight to Remember, I mean, what do you even want to say about the plot of this episode? The best thing we can say about the plot of this episode is that they find a way to bring Zap Brannigan back in.
Yeah.
I like the Fry and Leela and Amy.
Oh,
kind of love triangle stuff.
That's good. And I always like Bender and the
and Coilette. Yeah. I think Bender genuinely had robot feelings for that other robot. It's interesting. And but man, the episode just kind of, I find this one decent but kind of flat, to be honest. I don't remember many moments where I thought the writing was top notch. It was just me enjoying characters I like in a fairly stable setting until the end there, wherein they, it's not like I'm very concerned with they'll escape or not.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just don't know what to make of this episode. Like, especially like when I watched it for the first time when I was in year 4, no problem. But it's just I would never have any reason to rewatch this episode. Again, decent episode.
Not as good on rewatch, definitely not.
It's just one. It just seems to stand out as kind of like one they didn't put as much effort into compared to the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Frankly, I feel the same way about Garbage and another one we'll get to.
That's probably indicative of the joke about Hermes' origin, which seems a bit like just rushed and wacky. But I've always liked it, maybe because of that. I don't know, the whole Limbo Olympics thing.
Yeah.
It's just so absurd, and it feels like something like there would be in earlier South Park.
Yeah.
Sort of absurdity. You wonder whether they were sleep deprived when they came up with it.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy it for that, but it's indicative of the sort of silliness and maybe weakness of this episode.
I wonder if the Hermes Limbo backstory was they devised it for this episode, or whether this was in their kind of series Bible if they had one, and they decided to kind of introduce it into this episode. I'm not certain.
I get the feeling this show never had a series Bible though.
There are certain things, Nibbler.
Yeah, that's true. They do set up certain things.
The number 9 man was a subplot which they kind of focused less upon, and they brought him back for the Rogue Queen Yonder.
Those are ideas to set up later though, rather than having like an overall mythology or something like that. These aliens come from here. They have to adhere to this. They have to. I don't know. The Futurama seems looser than that a lot of the time, and they do just seem to wing it, especially earlier on.
Yeah. I'm not inspired to say a huge amount about A Fight to Remember. Frankly, I don't know if it's this distance between us watching it or the fact that I just kind of find it, a little bit obnoxious and lazy, especially in hindsight. Like, now that Titanic's just an old movie at this point.
The reference has lost a bit of cachet, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's not really the reason to watch the episode even then. It's just like most of these other first season episodes, it's just got sort of quippy, fast-paced writing based around the characters and putting them into sort of uncomfortable scenarios, especially since it's a parody episode, not about some sort of concept or something like that, like the one we'll get to later soon with the aliens attacking.
Yeah. Well, the previous episode was about theology, and then we had kind of science fiction concepts in, for example, when are we dealing with science fiction concepts? Well, I guess when Aliens Attacks is a decent example of that. Robot idiosyncrasies in I, Roommate, or Fear of a Bot Planet.
Definitely Fear of a Bot Planet.
The kind of alien, the Trisolians in My Three Sons, there isn't the same science fiction backdrop to Fight to Remember, other than it's the Titanic and it's in space instead.
And it's a black hole.
Yeah.
Zap does mention that comets are icebergs of the sky, so that's a nice touch. I do like Zap in this episode is as funny as Zap always is.
Yes.
So you really do have to, I guess, give this one a pass mark for Zap alone, maybe.
Pass, yeah.
And I guess this episode establishes the Kif Amy thing briefly, which then just come into more relevance later.
No, Kif Amy's good.
And I always like how the episode ended with just Bender, he's crying over the robot he said he might have robo feelings for, and then it's just like Hermes goes, "Oh, it's fake, man." That's how much it's worth.
To the fact that the jewel is fake.
Yeah. There's some good moments sort of strewn through this one, but Yeah, I definitely agree with you that it's on the weaker side for this season and for the show in general. It's nowhere near as low as the show can get. This Futurama never gets too low. That is the neat thing about Futurama too.
Not too low in the first 4 seasons. I would argue sometimes in 6 and 7 it was embarrassing whether fans want to admit it or not. It got really fucking bad. Like not like Simpsons or Simpsons after season 10 bad or South Park after I won't even say season 8, but really season 12 bad. I don't think Futurama received that low even in 6 and 7.
No, I can't say. It gets cringy and things like that.
But because Futurama's close to my heart, I guess.
Yeah, it never stoops low to some sort of, disgusting level or anything.
It never had Homer caring about the neighborhood kids more than his own kids.
Or the panda thing and
we're not even
a bunch of different stuff. Or the panda thing with South Park, but that's panda with an E on
there. When Matt and Trey disguised a Terry Shiver allegory as a PlayStation Audible commercial. Fuck you guys, you exploitative cunts.
Get
anyway.
a PSP.
Fuck you. Matt and Trey, you just trying to fund an Emmy campaign, and we all know it. You hack frauds.
Yeah.
That episode sucks.
I was just going to say.
I was always wondering why that episode sucked. I was like, oh, you wanted to fund an Emmy campaign. Did Terry Shiver exploited that PSP, Sony gives you money. I see through it. I don't like you guys. You guys sold out years ago. Like Jay-Z.
Nah, they went for mad jabs on Scientology, a subject that was maybe 40 years too late.
Yeah, maybe in the 70s and 80s that would have been relevant.
Pretty hard. Oh, they probably weren't as prominent back then. But
Dude, the Scientology was breaking into government buildings in the 70s.
No, they were. Yeah, but I mean in the media spotlight, it would have been less of a story because, like you just mentioned, they were involved in espionage in the late 70s, and not many people really seem to know about it. This is when, Hubbard's on a little boat going through the Mediterranean, his own private army across the Atlantic. I think he was in hiding, I think. But anyway, I was just going to briefly say, wrap up this episode.
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah, what we're mentioning it is weak. It doesn't stoop as low as South Park, obviously. Or The Simpsons, that can get pretty low. But this is, like I said I can't remember which episode, but a few episodes ago, it's not the thing you seek out on rewatch. It's the sort of thing that if you happen to come across it, you're happy it's on.
Yes, very true.
Definitely, if you're going to go through, if you're watching a playlist of the best Futuramas, skip this one. That's my thoughts.
It's this. I would say it's not the weakest episode in this season because of one later, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We've talked about a bunch of different things, and the Scientology stuff is only allegations, by the way. I'm not getting sued for the little money I have.
I'll sue you in, what was it?
Sue you in England.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mental. The libel laws are screwed over there. Actually, our libel laws are they're not too bad. I'll have to look them up. Someone post them in the comments. All right, thanks everyone.
Scientology, everyone knows.
Whatever. Xenu.